It's Celebrity Saturday. I hope you're having a good one. Okay, so I'm going to show you Olivia Wilde's red carpet look, okay? So we're going to start from base to finish, all right? Okay, we know for sure that on the red carpet, she has got full coverage on, okay? So that she is photo ready. Maybe I should have pulled my hair back. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Glorious Face Primer. And I'm going to make sure I do that on my lids as well. If you have eye primer, you can go ahead and use the eye primer. The eye primer is going to help pick up more pigment. Today, I'm just going to use regular primer all the way around, which the primer itself is just going to help the makeup to stay on. And we know for sure that when it's red carpet night, there is no way she wants her makeup to come off. Okay, so I've got the primer on all over. Next, I'm going to do the Mineral Touch Foundation, and I'm going to go a little bit more than I usually do. I typically do 3 to 4 drops. I'm going to go ahead and do 6 drops to really give that flawless skin finish like she has. Okay, so I put on my drops, and I'm going to go ahead and dab everywhere. And then I'm going to get the coverage applied evenly. Okay. There we go. I was just checking on my little guy. He is taking free reign of the house. I have all these toys like right here next to me, and he's just everywhere instead. That's what happens when they start crawling, right? Okay. I'm gonna get that down in here. Really get that coverage. Okay, and now I'm going to also do really good concealing under my eyes. And I'm stippling the concealer in. And stippling is just a quick pressing motion. And that's basically going to keep all the coverage where you want it. Okay. Really a little bit goes a long way, and sometimes I go overboard with the concealer just because, you know, it just squeezes out of the tube if I'm not really like thinking about just getting a little bit. Okay, that's good. Okay, and I always like to go around the hook of my nose, if you know me, and around the smile line. Brightens that up. Okay. All right, got the concealing on. I'm going to go ahead and do my contour. Olivia Wilde's look is definitely contoured. I mean, look at her amazing cheekbones. And if you don't even have high cheekbones, this is the purpose of contouring, is to shape your face. Okay, so if you don't have cheekbones, you can bring it out. You can just sculpt new ones on. There we go. So you can see the difference there just with having a little bit of contour. It just makes it look higher. Oh my gosh, doesn't she have amazing cheekbones? Oh my gosh, her look is gorgeous. So if you notice, I'm kind of hooking around and up. Now, I don't always do that with my contouring personally, but I'm doing it today to recreate the look that she has. Okay. So I'm going to also go around the hairline. What this will do is just really bring out your features. Kind of like you're framing. So all of the areas that are naturally recessed, that's where you're putting the darker color. And so it just makes everything pop, okay? So around the nose. And I always like to go a little bit underneath. I like to go underneath my lip. Just kind of makes that a little poutier. Make sure that's blended. Okay, so we did under the jawline. Let's do a little bit more in the temples. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now that I'm all contoured, I'm gonna go ahead and do some highlighting. Okay, and this highlighter, I'm using the Sculpting Trio. Okay, so I guess I need to go back over what I've used. I've used the Mineral Touch Foundation, which is of lightweight but full coverage. I've used the Touch Concealer, which is definitely going to give coverage. A little goes a long way. I used the Glorious Face Primer. That's what I used to start. And to do the contouring, I am using the Sculpting Trio, like I just showed you. So I used the cream, which is the dark, and that's going to go over the Mineral Touch. Now, if you use the powder foundation, then you're going to go ahead and do your contouring underneath, okay? When you do contouring above, that is when you are using liquid or cream foundations. Okay, so I'm just putting my highlighter here, just a little bit underneath the eyes, above the cheekbones, on the forehead, on the nose, on the chin, okay? All right, great. So I am contoured. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of blush. And she kind of has a peekaboo blush going on. It's not too strong. So I'm just going to dab my color. I'm going to be using Stunning. And I'm just going to put a little bit here on the cheekbones. And I am just dabbing this color in. I do not want a lot. I just want a peekaboo color. If you notice, she is barely using any color. I'm going to go ahead and blend it with my fluff brush so I don't have too much. There we go. Okay. So now that that is on, I'm contoured and blushed. I mean, that just makes a difference, okay? So red carpet skin looks great. Okay, next I'm going to bake, and I'm gonna bake because we want this look to stay on all night under the hot lights of the paparazzi. Okay, so I moistened my sponge, and now I have some loose powder, just translucent. And I'm dipping that in, and ladies, this is going to look crazy. So I'm going to do this in the areas that typically you have oil or large pores. For me, it's usually underneath the eyes that are more oily because I have oily eye beds. So I'm going to do this area here. Now, if you have oily skin all over, do this all over. I'm just going to touch the T-zone. I'm oily T-zone, and I'm pretty much normal to dry everywhere else. Okay, so now that that's on, and I'm looking fabulous. Okay, so now we're going to do her eyes. So she has kind of a cranberry look going on, and I have the color Glamorous, which is a pigment. I don't know if you can see, that's kind of a cranberry-ish color. Okay, so I'm going to use my angle shader brush, and I am just going to pack on some color. And this also has a sponge tip. think I might do is go ahead and damp my sponge tip. Dip that in here just for my first coat. And actually, let me go ahead and back up for a minute. Let's go ahead and tight line. She doesn't have a strong liner, if you notice that. So I'm just going to actually tight line. Okay, if this baking thing is freaking you out, I have a video on my blog about it. I think it's on my YouTube channel too. But basically what I'm doing is I am baking my foundation on my face so that everything stays put. It's a glamour secret. And when I'm done with my eyes and lips, I will dust it off and everything will look perfect. So I'm tight lining. Okay, and that's just to give a little bit of emphasis on the eye area without looking like I have cat eyes or lots of liner. Okay, so back to my sponge applicator. I'm gonna go ahead and apply the cranberry color pretty intensely on my lid. And when you spray the sponge with water, what you're doing is making the pigment richer. Versus if you just dust it on, you're gonna actually get a lot more pigment on. So I'm gonna do that for both my lids. Okay. This is such a pretty color. Ladies, if you do not have any pigments yet, you have got to get your hands on them. There is collections that you can get. Like I bought a collection and I bought 4 colors that I thought would mix well, that I could create many different looks. If you want help picking some colors out that you can do that with, let me know. Or just look at the chart and grab the colors you think you're going to use the most. So pigments are really versatile. If I wasn't using, if I wasn't doing Olivia Wilde's look today, I mean, I could show you that I could use this color on my lips, and I could also use this color as a blush. So the pigments are really, really awesome. And also when October time comes around, you can use the pigments to do, you know, face painting and stuff like that. Okay, so now that I got that base of cranberry on, little guy's over there kissing himself in the little mirror I put on the ground. It's super cute. Okay, so I am gonna do some cranberry in my crease, okay? And so you always start on the outer corner when you are contouring your eyes. This is where you want the most pigment, okay? This is the general rule. There's a lot of different looks. You will see some looks that go outside the rules that I tell you. I'm telling you the general rules, okay? I mean, you can get as funky and creative with your eyes as you want because makeup is art. But this is the general... Oh, goodness. Woo. This is the general rule. That scared me. He pulled... Excuse me. He pulled something off the counter. That surprised me. Don't leave cords hanging down. Okay. So I'm going to do that on this side. Just want to see if I have my transition color. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take my eye palette. And I'm going to get elated. I'm going to put that on top of what I already have on my brush. And I'm going to go up a little bit higher and I'm going to just feather that out, okay? If you see in her look, her shadow goes up pretty high, but it kind of fades. Okay. So I'm just feathering that out with elated. See the difference? So I'm going here with my elated. with whatever pigment's left on my brush. And I'm feathering that out. Okay. Now I'm going to take a clean brush, take the Elated, and really get that into my brow bone. Okay, and she doesn't have a very pronounced eyebrow bone color. It's not like shimmery or anything like that. It's pretty flat. Okay, so next we are going to go ahead and go over the liner with the cranberry, okay? If you notice, all her colors are very, it's pretty much a smoky eye with a cranberry color. So I'm going to take my cream shadow brush and I'm going to use it as an eyeliner brush. My eyeliner brush has gone missing, and so has my fine liner brush. I don't know where those went. I need them. Okay, but you can use this brush too. So I'm going to just tap that along my lash line. So what I did was I sprayed my cream shadow brush with water and dipped my pigment in. And now I'm going over the liner so it has that cranberry look over it, so it's just not black, okay? Just gonna tap that in. There, perfect. Okay, so we're not gonna stop there. She also used cranberry underneath. I'm gonna use one of my favorite brushes, which is my pencil brush. And I'm going to take the cranberry and go underneath. All right, starting to come together. Looks good. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to take a pencil, a black pencil, and waterline. So I'm putting the pencil here, and I'm actually lining this, the waterline right here, and then up here is another waterline. Okay? And if you notice in her photo, she has her water lines lined. That's a tongue twister, waterline line. Okay. That looks awesome. Next, I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes because I want them to look absolutely amazing. Girls, do you have the 3D fiber lash? If you do not have the 3D fiber lash, it is a must-have. So, look up Better Than Sex versus Unique, and you will see the difference. This is better than the Better Than Sex mascara. Honestly, I've been doing makeup and use lots of different lines and a really popular line. I worked for a big makeup company, and Unique makeup is awesome, guys. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I can't see why I can't say I used to work for MAC Cosmetics. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying that, but I did. Which is an amazing line, fashion-forward line. But girls, this makeup is equivalent, if not better. Like, I am just so surprised that I found a makeup line that I've just fallen in love with. When you have a good makeup, recreating looks is easy. So one thing that happens in my makeup lessons, people are like, I can't do a smoky eye. A lot of times it's because the makeup is really low pigment, and that's the reason. That's why when you try to get this look, you have to go over it a million times just to try to get the color to be dark. Okay, so that is not a big deal if you have a fiber fall. Okay, so I've kind of switched it up a little bit. What I'm doing is actually putting on the gel first. and then the fibers, and I'm letting it set. That way my fibers adhere to my other lashes. Okay. I think this is my longest video, but that's okay. My Celebrity Saturdays are going to be a little bit longer. You can always pause the video, come back to it later. Not a big deal. Okay. So, once you have the gel and fiber on, you need to seal the fibers in, okay? That way you don't have them flaking off during the day. If you use this mascara correctly, you're gonna have amazing looking lashes. And if you ever get to the point with your mascara that you're like, okay, this isn't old, but it feels like it's drying out, there's just a little bit of fibers in it, add a couple drops of the rose water or distilled water in it, or a drop of the Uplift Eye Serum, whichever you have, and that will help revive your fluid, okay? Any of those combinations will work. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit on the more on the bottom. Can't remember if I did the bottom. Okay. Eyebrows. Okay. What we're going to do, if you notice her brows are actually pretty light, but her hair is light. But her look, her eyebrows are still lighter than the rest of her look. So I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to really line the bottom. And I'm using a light brow pencil by Unique, okay? Going up to the top, and I'm pronouncing that line as well. Going here in the front, I've got a little bit of powder in my brow. There we go. Moved it out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to go in the hair and put a little bit of light pencil in there. So I'm just lightening up my eyebrows a little bit with my pencil. So, girls, you don't just have to have one brow pencil and one brow gel. You can have light, medium, and dark. And switch it up based on the look that you're going for, okay? Okay, so I like to do the outline first. I love the definition this really fine tip pencil provides. And this is also a Unique pencil. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to take the brow gel in light and just gently go over that just to straighten them out. Okay. Almost put together, just need my lips on. So let me find what I did with, there it is. Found my Lucrative lip gloss and I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips. Okay, lining is just, again, kind of like how you contour. It's just going to put more emphasis on your lips. And I'm using Luxe, which is a pretty pale taupey pink. Very similar to Olivia's lips. Okay, and, oh, there's my fluff brush. I'm like, where's my fluff brush? All right. And then get all this baking powder off. Remember, it's not actually baking powder or baking soda. It's translucent powder. All right. Okay, once all of that is off, here we go, Olivia's look. See if we can get a better look at it. Make sure everything's blended here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my camera up, get a better look. Sorry, there we go. Okay, the eyes. looks great. So I didn't get a closer look. Make sure everything is blended. I'm going to do that, but you get the overall look. Just make sure everything's blended once you have baked. And now you are red carpet ready. Thanks for joining me on Celebrity Saturday. I'll see you next week.